Hello, hello, hello guys. How are you? I hope you are all well. This is Dr. Cathy Tarzs with Matters of the Heart. And today we are so privileged to have a special guest, Apostle Martins. I got that right. And we're going to be dealing with a sensitive topic. But it's sensitive, but we need to talk about it. Actually, when I asked our apostle, what do you think about this topic, he said, we need to talk about it because people, especially the church, are not talking about it. Our topic today is domestic violence. Domestic violence. We hear, Apostle, of so much all over the world of how there has been a rise in domestic violence. We see the, pictures on Facebook whereby a man has almost been brutalized, Somebody has poured hot water, somebody has stabbed somebody, and we're wondering what is the world coming to? So that is what we have for you, and we are hoping that as we talk about it, there'll be healing, there'll be solution, and God is going to bring about a new beginning for those who are experiencing domestic violence and for those who know somebody who has experienced domestic violence. So we're going to start with why, Apostle, why do you think domestic violence is happening right now? But before, I'm sorry. What is domestic violence? Because we are talking about domestic. What is domestic violence? Let's start from there, sir. Yes.
Yeah, domestic violence is the abuse of privileges and rights of an individual in a family setting or in a relationship.
Okay.
Usually, it is called domestic because the perpetrators of this violation are close family members or family friends or associates that probably you have known for a very long time. There are people you trusted, there are people you believe in, there are people you see day in, day out. So that is why it is called domestic violence. So domestic violence is the abuse of your privileges and rights. Okay, what we see right now is that is bothering the world is the physical violence.
Yes.
But in the whole world that is happening. But there is the domestic violence that is happening in the Christian homes.
Exactly.
That are not necessarily physical attack, but they are emotional violation of the rights of the spouses.
Yes.
So these are the things we want to talk about.
Yes, actually, yes, you said something very, very, very profound there. That this domestic violence, sometimes it's not just physical.
Yes.
We have emotional violence, we have physical violence, and we have psychological violence. And all these things are happening. And the most saddening thing is that it's not strangers, as the word domestic, as you rightfully say. It's not strangers who are abusing, who are violating somebody's right. It is a husband, a wife, a brother, a sister, a relative, somebody we are supposed to trust. And that is where really the whole thing is a little bit saddening. So why domestic violence, Apostle? Why do you think people resort to violence?
Okay, there are various reasons, but I want to put them under three categories.
Yes.
There is the spiritual dimension of it. There is the mental health dimension of it.
Yes.
And there is the I am in charge dimension of it.
Yes.
People who abuse their partners or family members are people who want to control. People want to control. They want to exert their authority, and the only way they feel they can do that is by violating your rights as an individual. They want to control what you do, what you say. They feel so satisfied by being controlling over you. Yeah, that is basically the first cause of domestic violence. The other one is spiritual. Sometimes, not even sometimes, most of the time, the devil loves to upset the balance of the family.
Yeah, that's right.
The devil knows that once the family is functioning, then it's in trouble. So he wants to upset the balance of the family. If he cannot get you through this means, he gets you through the other means. So he brings one of the partners into the place of domestically violating the right of the other. Yeah, and the third one is mental health issue. Now, because of a lot of bottled up tension and problems, particularly for men, one of the reasons why men violate their partners is because men have a lot of tension that they never talk about. So when it gathers to a point, what happens is they begin to express their frustration by hurting the one that is closer to them. Those are the causes of domestic violence. But basically, it is because an individual feels he has the right to be in charge. And he wants to make you feel less valuable, and then he exerts his power on you and violates you.
And so that is to say, especially for that point that you put across about men, men need to learn to talk.
True.
Men need to learn to share with their wives, with their partners, what they're going through. Because it's not very healthy to keep those things inside. It's not healthy because it will cause other things like now domestic violence. And so men need to learn to talk about what they are feeling. But let me ask you something, Apostle. Why do men find it so difficult to talk?
It's ego. It's ego. Men are egocentric in nature. Okay, that does not mean that is how God created us.
Okay.
But I think nature finds its way into us. And that is why in redemption, you should give the totality of yourself to God. You see, men find it difficult to talk because of ego. Men are egocentric. Men think that when they express any sign of weakness or frustration, that makes them weak. They think that makes them to lose their value. No, a great man talks about their fears.
Yes, that's right.
Great man talks about their fear. Great people admit when they are wrong.
Exactly.
Great people admit when they are scared. To be scared does not mean you are weak.
You are weak.
You are just telling the people around you there is a danger knocking around. It doesn't mean you have lost your masculinity. That is not what it means. It only means that you are a man who knows what you are doing and you are able to carry your family along. Because in life, none of us is independent. We are all interdependent of one another.
That's true.
So men should learn how to talk. Why do our women live longer than we do? Because our women express their frustration in many ways.
Yes, that's true.
The woman will cry. The woman will talk to friends. The woman will even talk sometimes maybe to who they are not supposed to talk to.
Even to total strangers.
Total strangers.
Exactly.
Why? Because the woman just want to free themselves of that burden. That is the problem with men. Rather than men talking about their crisis, they drink it out. Alcohol will not take away the pain you feel. When you drink yourself to stupor, by the time you wake up with migraine headache, your problem that you are drinking to go will be the first thing to welcome you back to reality.
That's true.
Yeah, so it's very, very important for men to learn how to talk.
Okay, that means we are assuming that men are the abusers.
Not really.
Apostle, wait. What about all these pictures we have seen whereby men have been brutalized? Backs, front, everywhere, even private parts have been destroyed by a woman. So what can you say? Because you say the reason why domestic violence happens when a man is the one who's the violator is because they don't talk. What about the women who are brutalizing and being violent towards their spouses?
It's
what can you
still
say?
the same answer. Abuse does not start overnight. It starts gradually. Men do not talk about what they face in their marriages. And that is why their women gain more strength and power to abuse them. Think of it this way. If you work with a mate who you have seen how he or she relates with the wife, and then your wife yesterday brutalized you, and then you have bruises on your arm, and then you get to work and they ask you what happened. You are likely to tell them you slammed that arm against the door.
In fact, that was the next point we are going to talk about.
You are not going to tell anyone that oh, it was my wife who gave me a knock. You know, because once you mention it, that is my wife who gave me a knock, people can laugh you to scorn. But sometimes it's good to feel scorned and to stay alive. The problem with men that are in abusive relationship is because they do not talk. Or maybe they do not know who to talk to. But I can tell you there are multiple avenues where a man can pour out their pain. If you keep quiet, you will die in your silence.
Yes, yes.
I know men have been brutalized in this nation and in the nations of the world.
Yes, we've been actually seeing it all over. And now that we're talking about brutalizing, and you said something about a bruise, let's go to another angle. How do you tell somebody is in abusive relationship? How do you tell somebody has had abuse, been abused, or is in a physically or abusive relationship or marriage? What are the signs that you can tell this lady that bruise she's talking about? No.
Okay. For either a lady or a man,
yes,
the first indication that somebody might be suffering from abuse in relationship is their glow will disappear. Their glow will disappear. Somebody who is always excited, maybe quiet or either introverted or extroverted, they are very much full of life, going about their duties.
Yes.
The moment you begin to notice someone around you is withdrawn, and you begin to take note that the spark in their eyes is no longer there. They are no longer lively. That is one sign or an indication that an individual is probably suffering from abuse in their relationship. The second thing is such a person becomes easily irritated. Such a person becomes easily irritated. If the person is working with you, they are prone to mistakes.
Yes.
They are prone to mistakes. Those are the signs.
Yes.
Another thing is you discover that these people will be always lost in thought. They will sit down there, they totally lose awareness of their environment. You might just walk up onto such a person and
they'll not even be aware.
They will not be aware you are there. You might stand for 1-2 minutes and you are wondering, this individual is transfixed whenever he's seated or standing. And you are amazed at what is going on with this individual. By the time you tap them to reality, you see them go into panic attack.
Yes. Because they are always on the defensive mode, because they are used to it.
Yes.
They are used to it. That is very true. And also physically, you'll have bruises. Unexplainable bruises. For the women, sometimes you can be able to put makeup and it will be hiding it, but sometimes it's not possible. So you'll see the bruises, or even sometimes, as you rightfully said, the glow. Somebody loses the spirit inside. Maybe the person was an extrovert and they become so disillusioned. They lose their mojo, as we would put it. They lose their drive in life. You find that somebody who was so happy, so lively, is no longer that way. So friends out there, you have those people right in your midst. They could even be in your church. A woman who's going through violence, domestic violence, and maybe you don't know. So these are the signs. We need to be our brother's keeper. Like, for example, there's a time that I went to a certain occasion, and this lady, she was having a shawl, and somehow the shawl, passed, and I noticed a scar there. And so my friend asked her, "Oh, what happened?" And she said, "The door hit me." But the way she said the door hit her, I knew at once that that was not just a door. There was something happening. And so we need to be on the lookout. Now, I'm not saying that every scar, every sign, every bruise will be for domestic violence. But I'm just saying, let's be sensitive so that we can be our brother's keeper. Now, Apostle, I want us now to go to, as you said, abuse doesn't just happen. So what are the signs to know an abusive spouse? How do you know before you even get into that marriage? I know we are talking to those who are already in a marriage. What about the singles here? Can we help them and tell them these are the signs of an abusive spouse to be? What are the signs so that they can avoid having that problem in their future?
Okay, like I said initially, abuse does not happen from the blues. It's something that is there. And you see, anyone who abuses you today has the tendency to do that from before you met them. So the indication is when you meet an individual you want to be together, and you don't do crisis test. Everybody, before you marry anyone, you should do crisis test.
What's a crisis test?
You should put people under due pressure to see how they react to those pressure.
Okay.
But that crisis test does not involve you telling your girlfriend to seduce your man. He might end up marrying your girlfriend. So that's not what I'm saying. And neither does it involve you asking your your boyfriend as a man to seduce your woman.
Yeah, you better become very clear about that one.
That's what I'm saying. But there are crisis situations that brings out the real man.
Yes.
Or the real woman. You understand? Now, when you see somebody you've been moving with,
okay,
someone like me, I have a very loud voice, like a microphone.
We can hear it.
You understand?
Yes.
Yeah, but that does not mean I raise my voice against people. But when you discover that when there is an argument between you and the one you are going out with, and they begin to raise their voice on you to shut you down.
Oh, to shut you down.
To shut you down. When somebody will not give you room to express yourself. When somebody will not give you the opportunity to make a choice. When somebody will not give you the privilege to have a say. When it's just their way and no other way. My friend, no matter how much Holy Ghost fire you carry, you might be engaging yourself in an abusive relationship. Because if you are still new out there and they will not give you a say, when you come home, you become a slave. These things are practical. But many times, what we do is we close our eyes to the obvious.
Yes, that's right.
See,
that's right.
There is no man that heaven has written your name on his bone, that is the bone of your bone and the flesh of your flesh. You understand? So it is the one you choose that will become that. But while you are choosing, you need to be smart.
Yes.
Then you are asking out there, what of those of us who have chosen? We will tell you what to do.
We will tell
but for those who are about to enter into this I do thing, don't just rush into a relationship because a man seems settled. You know? And don't walk out of the life of a man because he seems like he's not settled. Yes. But what we are saying is there are indicators of an abusive husband or wife. They will choke you.
Yes.
They won't give you a say.
Yes, actually, now that you're talking about indicators, there is this issue of the man is in a very subtle way denies you freedom. You can't, when you are together, you cannot be yourself. You are always afraid because you've seen how he reacts when things don't go his way. That is a sign of an abuser. Another one is maybe you had a quarrel and from nowhere, he slaps you or she slaps you. I used to know of a certain person who once told me that when they were dating, he got divorced, but he was telling me that once when he was dating, because I asked him, didn't you see any sign of violence? He said once when they were dating, the lady got angry with him. And as a result, she held his shirt and was, very aggressively threatening him. I said, for heaven's sake, that was a sign. Some of them might not outrightly come and slap you or punch you or kick you, but some, in a very subtle way, they will show you that they are abuser. A man who does not give you time, or a woman who does not give you a chance to express yourself, to be yourself in that relationship, that is a very, very volatile situation. He or she can turn into an abuser. So we're not saying it's only men, even women. A lady who maybe you quarreled and just pour water on you. That's abuse. And it needs to be very, very well addressed, especially for those of you who are not married, because marriage is for life as Christians. And we don't want you to enter into that situation. Then now you'll have to be trying to find a way out, hopefully before you are dead, because violence is happening and many are dying. Many saw these signs. Don't ignore the red flags. Don't ignore the warning signs because, we love each other. It was just a misunderstanding. Yes, misunderstanding happens. Apostle, you'll agree with me.
True.
Marriage has its misunderstandings. But never should it reach a place where any one of you has to raise their hand or be physically violent or even verbally violent, because that is another thing. Somebody who calls you names, he calls you a fool, she calls you stupid, she calls you, see how big your head is, or whatever, words, derogatory words, that is also a form of violence. So if in your relationship, in your engagement, in your courtship, you notice those things, you better run. They say it's better a broken engagement, a broken courtship than a broken marriage. And as I always like to say, marriage is not a do or die affair. It's not a must that you have to marry anyway. Yeah, you can say, it's because you are married. But the truth of the matter is, it's better to live single and happy than to be married and you're always in tears. Yeah, so we have to be very careful for those of us who are not yet in that marriage. But let us now go to how does it start? Because it has to have a starting point.
Okay.
What triggers it?
So before we talk about how the abuse starts, I want you to know something.
Okay.
Love is not enough to sustain a relationship.
No, it's not. That's true.
Many of us have been disillusioned, and also what many of you call love is infatuation and total what I call shadow of what true love is about. Many of us have not experienced what true love is because you have not even loved yourself. The Bible says, love your neighbor as yourself. Many of us out there, we don't even love ourselves. And if you have never practiced love with you, you can't practice love with anyone.
Because, let me interrupt you, Apostle, because if you love yourself, there are some things you'll never allow anybody to do to yourself.
True. And take note, or write it down and place it by your bedside.
Yes. There are some things you will never allow anybody to do to you.
True.
Because you love yourself. Loving yourself, we are not talking about selfishness. We're not talking about being egoistic, that it's only you and about you. We're talking about knowing your value, knowing who you are as the Bible says, and respecting yourself and setting boundaries that you say, this and this I cannot allow, this and this I cannot allow. That is what we are talking about, loving yourself. So somebody who does not love themselves will allow violence, will allow anything. But when you love yourself, you have boundaries. And when those boundaries are crossed, you will categorically stop having a relationship with such a person. Yes, I agree with you.
So that's very, very important.
Yes,
love yourself. Huh?
Yes.
See, the background that each one of us come from, particularly the women, is one of the things that exposes us to this abuse. Some of the women run away from home, as it were, just to find comfort and peace.
Yes, because there's too much pressure
at home.
Yeah, or maybe the parents are too strict. At the end of the day, we say you get out of the frying pan into the fire, the naked fire. You understand? See, you are too precious. Yeah. And you have only one life. There's only one life to live. You are not coming back here to live again. Like she said, she's married. You understand? Yes. Marriage is not do or die. No, it's not. See, marriage is two people making a choice to stay together under certain conditions. I like that. Under certain conditions. Do you understand? Under certain conditions. Yes. I know somebody out there will be telling me what is supposed to say. The Bible says the two shall be one. If the two shall be one, the same Bible says, can two work together except they agree? Permit me, don't be stupid and engage yourself with a man or a woman that will dehumanize you. Yeah, all in the name of love or marriage. Or demean you, destroy you. Listen, she said something. A broken courtship is better than a broken marriage. Do you know the reason why? When you get out of a broken, violent marriage, even your life is broken. Yeah, that's true. It takes a long time for you to find the pieces of your life together. Now, I remember the story of a school where I went for somewhere in West Africa. I went for a school mission. So I happened to pass by this class and I heard this teacher interrogating this 7-year-old. And they were asking, what is your father's name? You know how she responded? Madman.
What is your mother's name? Stupid.
Oh, wow.
And they kept asking. He said, yeah, daddy is mad and mom is stupid. So they had to call for the parents, and they discovered that is how these two address themselves every time they fight, because they are like cat and mice in the house. You madman, stupid woman.
Wow.
You see?
Wow.
Even though they've not started physically abusing themselves, but that is abuse on the child already. That is abuse on both of the partners. You understand? Wow. So you need to understand that loving yourself is paramount to you loving somebody. And one of the reasons why many people out there mischoose partners is because they have no idea what love is all about.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what love is. Love is not a feeling.
It's not.
You know, you are the coconut butter in my body. You are the sugar in my tea. When you take sugar in the tea, you pass it out as urine or excreta. So if you are a sugar to someone, sorry, you are a waste product. It's not the sugar in your tea. You understand?
I hear you.
You get the point, huh?
I hear you.
Now, you know, without you, I can't breathe. It's not your oxygen. Stop lying. I can't sleep because I'm thinking of you. You are the breath. It's not your breath. That is the mistake you make. Love is not a feeling. Love is not poem. It's not roses. It's not flowers. It's not chocolate. Love is a decision you make every day to be with someone for who they are.
Exactly.
Regardless of what will come in the future.
But not violence.
Not violence. And even when you are engaged with an individual who is violent in nature, there is a way to go around it. Don't remain with someone who will perpetually violate you in the name of you love them, or the Bible says. The Bible said this. Can two walk together unless they agree?
Yes. So, Apostle, let us go to, because our time is almost up. Let us go to why. How does it start?
It begins with restrictions. When you discover your freedom to speak or express yourself or to have a say in a union is being disallowed, then you are on the path of violence.
Okay.
When you discover that no matter what happens, anytime you make a suggestion, it becomes like it is not acceptable. Anytime you bring your idea on the table, it is
not accepted.
Even if that is the right thing and it is not accepted, the family will have to suffer rather than your opinion count. That is the beginning of violence. And it escalates beyond that to verbal abuse. No? When somebody begins to use harsh words on you or send you back home with words. You understand? So that is the easiest pointer to a violent man or woman. You understand? Yeah.
Now, Apostle, as I said when we were starting, it has increased. We always knew the violence was there. But this COVID, during this COVID season, it's like there's an escalation. I was even looking at the statistics, and they say that it has really increased, for both genders. Why do you think during this COVID period, it has escalated? The violence has become something else, and it's not only in Africa, all over the world. What do you think has become like a catalyst? What is making it become on the increase like that?
Simple. The demon you refuse to tame will tame you. Violence has not increased because COVID came. COVID has only exposed the rate of violence that we have decided to ignore. The man violating the woman and the woman violating the man, they have always been together. The woman has seen the traces of that violence, but COVID had brought them together in a small space. You understand? Where now the man cannot, he cannot violate the air. He cannot, he cannot.
He doesn't even have a place.
He doesn't have a place to go.
Yes.
So he has to be with you. So you remain his punching bag. Like I used to tell my sister when we are joking, I'm your punching bag. When my sister has issues, she comes to me. When I have issues, I go to her. So we call, we say, you are my punching bag. But she does not punch me. Okay. You understand? She only comes to now. Now you become the physical punching bag because COVID have restricted movement. It drinks it away. Yeah. You know about it, but it does not bother you because according to you, you have your space.
Yes. Now there's no space.
There is no space. Deal with it. Even though the lockdown has been taken away, what if another lockdown comes? What if one of you gets sick? How are you going to manage? So you need to begin to see the best way to deal with a violent partner. We are not advocating for divorce or separation, but you need to find a way around it.
Before we go to finding a way around it, I think also I can say that domestic violence has although you say it has not increased, has only exposed those who are violent in nature, has also come about because of the financial constraint. So people, because they don't have the tools to cope with the stresses, because people don't have they don't have the companionship. You know, Apostle, many people used to live in the morning and come in the evening. They don't even have time to fellowship as a husband and wife. The only time they fellowship is to ask how the kids are, whether they ate, whether there's any problem, that's all. But between themselves as a husband and wife, they don't communicate. They don't have that fellowship. So they've grown estranged. That's what I was addressing. There's my video out there, and I need people to watch it, couples, that who is this stranger? People have become strangers to each other because the rat race of finding and making a living has caused people to miss out on their relation, their marriage. They are no longer relating. So when this now COVID came, and as Apostle pointed out, there's no space. We are all together. So we are in each other's space. We are irritating one another. We are making each other feel uncomfortable. We realize, wow, we've lost track of ourselves. We don't do things together. So these things are causing a lot of strain in the relationships. And as a result, those who are already violent inside, it's coming out. And that is becoming very, very obvious in many relationships. Some might not go to the extent of physical, but the way they talk to each other, the way they shun each other is already violence in itself. So COVID has just exposed, I guess. It has really exposed the problems that have been in many marriages. Because I also know of many marriages whereby they're still finding a way to cope. So it's true. We can't say COVID is the reason. It has just brought about the problems that were inside that had been ignored for too long. So what is the solution?
Yeah, as we begin to talk about COVID exposing it, I want to address those of us out there who are Christians.
Yeah.
Those of us who are Christians. One of the major crises the marriages are suffering today are the making of the churches around the world. Many churches do not have a systematic plan that helps couples to grow and bond together. I'm not talking about organizing luncheon. There are no programs that are tailored towards helping couples to cope with difficult times.
Yes.
I remember several months before COVID came, I started preaching to my church, talking to them about the power of planning, the power of purpose. And I remember one of those messages I was telling them, if anything happens to you today, what plan do you have for your children's future and your wife? If for one reason you are incapacitated and you cannot work, will your wife become a beggar? Will your children suffer?
Yes.
And you know,
many of them had nothing, no plans.
Few months after COVID came.
Wow.
But I thank the Lord, the people we have, they listened, they had a plan. I've never seen any family struggle so much with a domestic thing in my church because we have built them.
Amen.
Another thing is, it's not only job that takes families away from each other. The churches are guilty.
Wow, that's a
The churches are guilty.
Nice one.
You cannot take people out of their home 5 a.m. in the morning glory, lunch hour service, revival in the evening, Monday to Friday, Saturday leaders meeting and choir practice, Kesha on Fridays, women meetings. On Sunday you hold a service from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. Are you the one who killed Jesus?
Wow, that's a strong one.
So what are you looking for? You have left your family unattended to. In the name of who? You are not serving God by doing those things. You are just building a man's kingdom. So the first thing I want to tell you is, take your family as your priority.
Yes, your priority.
Your priority.
Because actually, that's your first ministry.
That's your first ministry.
Yep.
Take your family as your priority. Listen to me. When your church man, your pastor, I'm an apostle, commands a fast, and your husband come and tell you you are not fasting, you obey your husband, not your pastor. When you make a vow and say, I'm giving God 20 million, and your husband come and say, no way, you are not doing that, that vow is cancelled.
Yeah, actually, it's even a woman should consult. And the husband should consult.
Yeah,
because
God will not hold it against you as a woman. You understand? So these are the things we should understand. And I have seen churches whereby they appoint the man into offices, they don't care about the wife and the children.
Yeah.
Or they appoint the wife into offices, they don't care about the husband and the children. The church take action. Repent of your evil. I'm a pastor, I run a church. I'm part of the evil, but I'm praying that God will help us. We practically are breaking homes by the kind of programs we are rolling out. We only talk about the kingdom project that is actually not kingdom project. We talk about the pastor's vision, which is good. It's good for everyone to have a vision. We talk about building projects. We talk about evangelistic outreaches. The mission field of the families in your church are unreached. Reach out to them first. Reach out to them first. When you do that, you will discover there is a lot of abuse going on in your church. You may not be aware. Men abusing their wife, wives abusing their men. But they come to church in same attire and they smile. Like she said, they have what we call foundation on the face of the woman.
So you wouldn't know. You
wouldn't know what is going on. They smile at each other, and the guy, knuckles the wife and say, smile. You know what waits for you at home.
Wow.
So how do you overcome this domestic violence? The most scared one of it is the ability for you to open up.
Yes.
That is what people talk to someone. Find someone to talk to. Number one, find someone to talk to because of the pain you are going through.
Yes.
Find someone to talk to because of what he's doing to you or she's doing to you.
And also, as you find somebody, let us avail ourselves to be our brother's keeper. Be the kind of person who people can trust you to talk to. Lend an ear.
True.
Yes.
And don't take their matter everywhere.
No, it should not become the gossip column.
When somebody comes to confide in you about their pain, learn how you can help.
Yeah.
Women, sometimes you are so scared because the man will increase the rate of the abuse. Do not be afraid. We only die once. Speak out.
Yes, speak out.
Don't be afraid he will send you packing. It's better you go back home than to die in a marriage where you have no peace.
Yeah, that's true.
You understand?
That's very true.
Sometimes you need to speak to somebody that he can listen to.
Yeah.
And if you have a husband who does not listen to anyone, there is a God in heaven.
Amen.
Seek help for yourself and avoid as much as possible the things that triggers him.
Yes.
If you come to realize that this man does not listen to anyone and he doesn't want to be queried, like for instance, you can see a man come home at 11 p.m. and you ask him, our dad, where have you been? The next answer is a slap or a punch. You understand? And he tells you, I married you, you didn't marry me. Your duty in this house is to raise children for me and to cook for me. If you discover that's the kind of man he is, change your tact. Stop questioning him.
Yes.
He has chosen the path of drunkenness. You are going to be lonely for a while. He has probably chosen the wayward way of humanizing. Confronting him is not going to help you.
No, it's not going to help.
Go on your knees and ask God to give you way out.
That's right. That's
you understand?
Yes.
Pray about it. Then gather around you women. Now listen. Do not make friends with women who are broken as you or more broken than you.
That is true.
Don't make friends with, they won't help. Because you are both blind, you will lead each other into the ditch. So don't make friends with women who are broken as you or more broken than you, whereby in the city of the blind, you are the one-eyed woman who is their king. Make friends with people who are far above you, people who have things going for them. My pastor used to say this, there is no marriage that is working. Everyone in the union makes it work.
That's true.
You understand? Everyone in the union makes it work. So identify people who are having it going for them, as it were. Listen to their concern. Let them be your encouragement. Can I tell you something? Whatever you see so frequently becomes your focus. And whatever becomes your focus becomes your vision. And whatever becomes your vision becomes your mission. And whatever becomes your mission becomes your accomplishment. If the people in focus to you are as broken as you, your home will keep sinking. Because there will be no hope for you. All you hear is, Baba, this has done this. Then you call men dogs, you call men evil. You see, even the word you speak has a way of affecting you, man. You understand?
Yeah.
So prayer is the key.
Yes.
Then speak out.
Speak out. Yes. That's right.
Speak out.
Speak out.
And then if you are in a church whereby your pastor, listen to me, I repeat, if you are in a church where your pastor does not have time for someone like you, then you don't belong in that church. And I will advise you, when you have marital problems, rather than approaching your pastor, approach his wife.
That's right.
Because your man and the pastor are men. Sometimes the pastors themselves are worse than the husband you are running away from.
Yeah.
You understand?
That's happened
You understand? So he might not even understand why you are complaining.
Yeah, he might not see the need.
Yeah. So talk to the woman.
He will begin telling you are not submissive.
Talk to the woman who understands the feeling of abuse. Because some of us as pastors, we also abuse our wives.
Yes, that's
for those who are married.
That's very true.
We may not beat them, you understand?
Yes.
They may not beat them, but psychologically, you silence her. Maybe she comes and tell you, I think you are too close to A, B, C, D. Then he comes to ask you, that is my mission, that is my ministry. I was in this ministry before I met you. You know, that is abuse. Because your concern means nothing to that individual. Yeah. So talk to the woman, pastor. Yes. It helps. Because she's somebody who feels your pain because she's a woman. So those are the things you need to do. And you may need to join a counseling club.
Yes.
Not the one that teaches you that marriage is evil, but the one that teaches you that every difficulties lead us to a better place in life, where they can strengthen you with advice. You understand? So that is very, very important. Do not keep quiet. Do not keep quiet.
And I'd also like to add, for those who are not in the abusive, we are outside, we need to learn to know the signs of somebody who's being abused, so that they will not die in their pain, so that they will not die alone. Get to know the signs. And when you get to know the signs, when you notice such signs, try to be close to that person as much as you can, or even start praying for them. And also, don't be the kind of person who goes minding other people's business, but don't ignore domestic violence. Maybe you hear your neighbor, they're always shouting and doing, and the wife, screaming. Don't ignore it, because maybe the next time you'll hear that shout and you ignore it will be the last time you'll hear that shout.
True.
Don't say that it's not my business. Let us be our brother's keepers. Let us be the kind of person who will rescue women who are in domestic violence, men who are also in domestic violence. As Apostle said, people need to talk. Talk out. Don't die in your pain, because you never know. Maybe the person you tell could be the man or the woman who will give you the solution. And don't forget that there is nowhere written that you have to die in your pain alone. We as Christians, because we believe that most of our viewers are Christians, are a community, a church, whereby each member, if one member suffers, the other members one member suffer, the other members suffer. So we need to be concerned about each other. We need to be there for our brothers and sisters so that we can help them. We can help them. And especially in these difficult times, whereby people are having financial challenge. The economy has become very, very challenging. We need to reach out. Let us not just be only ourselves and our families. There are people who are suffering. There are people who are out there who need us. Even if it's not finances, maybe just talking to somebody. So when you discover that somebody might be going through an abusive relationship, it is up to us as brethren, as Christians, to be there for them. Now, I know many people are not very willing to talk about it. So if somebody is not willing, you could also be their prayer partner. You could be praying for them silently and praying that they will have the courage to speak up, or they'll have the courage to walk out. Because I want to say this as we are almost finishing. there is no way anybody should stay in an abusive marriage, because you have a destiny to fulfill. You have a purpose of which God has created you. And by you staying there, because many of them are told God hates divorce, but God also hates suicide. So when you staying there and knowing that your life is in danger, it's like you're committing suicide. Now, we are not saying that people should divorce, but there is a need for separation for a while. Before there is a crisis to be settled by people who are mature enough, there needs to be a separation so that that man can go through counseling, that woman can go through counseling and therapy to heal them, and before they can come together and resolve their issues. Don't die there because they said marriage is for life. Yes, it's for life, but if there is danger of your life, of the life of your children, then you need to take a step back. And if that man cannot change, then your life and your children's life is more important. If it is the man who's being abused, your life, you man, is more important. And God is more concerned of your life. Because when you are alive is when you can serve Him. When you are alive is when you have value. When you are dead, that is it. Apostle, do you have a final word before we finish?
See, that's very, very important. Huh? Listen to me, friends. When you discover the kind of union you are in becomes life-threatening. When it becomes life-threatening, it's always wise for you to take a step back. Now, there is a demon of domestic violence that keeps people perpetually in it.
Yeah.
That is the fear of
what will people say?
Or will I escalate the problem?
Yes.
Listen to me. You see, fear are usually imaginary.
Yeah.
You can never tell.
False emotions
appearing real. You can never tell until you take a step.
Yeah.
I know some of you have invested time, years, emotions, probably life, sometimes finances in this union that you have been abused in. So you want to ask yourself, what is my take? How do I do it? Reach out to people who are professionals.
Yes.
If you say we don't have money, there are hospitals in Kenya that offer such advices.
Yes.
You don't need to press charges if that's your problem. You want reconciliation, isn't it? The first thing you need is, until you get your mental state balanced, you cannot even run a home. When you go through domestic violence as a woman, you become mentally derailed in a way. So what you need to understand is, you need to first seek help for you to be able to recover yourself. What domestic violence does to you is, it robs you of your self-dignity. It robs you of your self-dignity.
That's true.
It erodes your self-confidence and destroys your personality within. You are dead within you. It makes you feel inadequate. It makes you feel maybe something is wrong with you. That's not true. You understand?
Yeah, nothing is wrong.
That's not true. There's nothing wrong with you.
You're just a victim.
You are a victim. You understand? So you need to seek professional counseling, seek spiritual counseling, seek family intervention.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
Seek family intervention.
Don't die alone.
Don't die alone. There are many of you suffering today. Your families are not aware of what you are
not
going
even
through.
aware. And sometimes they are threatened.
Yeah.
But you need to step up. Refuse
to be threatened.
Refuse to be threatened.
Speak out.
In fact, they are bullies.
Yeah.
Most people who are doing that, they are bullies.
Speak out. Whether you are a man or you are a woman, speak out. Talk to family members.
Yes.
Talk to professionals. You may not have money to go see a therapist. Go to the hospital. Talk about what you have gone through. There are people, there are counselors, 24 hours, who are ready to help you out. Look for pastors who are spiritually filled. Pastors who are shepherds in their hearts. Talk to them. Then look at family level. Look at family members who can be of help to you. And unfortunately, I know there are some people who practically have no family, even though they have family. But the family of the church of God is yours. Explore the church. Explore the church. Look at a mature man, a mature mama in your church where you can talk to. And if it becomes impossible for you to find somebody, reach out to us.
We are there.
You can talk to doctor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
After this broadcast, I'm going to give you the numbers where you can reach us.
Please.
You can talk to us. We can be of help to you.
Yes.
And if you are willing to press charges because you have been so brutalized, talk to us. We'll show you which way to go about it. You press the charges in a way that it will be amicable. You understand?
Yes.
Our desire is that every home we find peace and be reunited.
Yes.
That's our desire. We do not advocate for divorce. We do not advocate for separation. But when it's a matter of life and death, when the situation is life-threatening, you may need to take a retreat. Remember, it takes a woman who is alive to be a wife. It takes a man who is alive to be a husband. Very, very important.
Yes.
I pray that today the Lord will help you. I hope you have received one or two insights from this discussion. You can reach out to us. Give them your number.
Yes, my numbers are there. If you go to Dr. Cathy Tarzs Ministry, you'll see my numbers there. And also you can go to our channel, YouTube channel. We have some videos there on advice. You can reach out to us, like our page, and we will get back to you. You can send me a private message and I will get back to you, because we are here for this purpose, to make people fulfill destinies, to help broken homes be restored, and to bring lives back where they are supposed to be, because that is why Christ died for you. I pray for somebody who's watching, that God will have mercy on you. If you're in that situation, or you know somebody who's in that situation, I pray that there will come a restoration, and that pain, God will heal you of it, and He will give you a solution, because He is a solution giver. So for us here, we say thank you very much. Thank you very much, Apostle, for being here with us. And we know that God had a reason why you are watching us. So until next time, here at Matters of the Heart, we say God bless you and shalom.
God bless you. Kwaheri.
Kwaheri.